15. That's the number of notable players the Dodgers lost this past winter. From superstar Trey Turner to fan favorites Cody Bellinger and Justin Turner, to rotation depth like Tyler Anderson and Andrew Heaney, the Dodgers turned over the roster like never before.
Man, this has been the most turnover that I've seen in an offseason in a while for us.
And all this transpired while their division rival, the San Diego Padres, were busy winning the offseason once again. After back-to-back seasons of blowing past the luxury tax with having nothing but October heartbreak to show for it, the Dodgers went into the offseason with a not-so-subtle goal of shedding salary. So for example, instead of re-signing the heart and soul of the Dodgers, Justin Turner, to a 2-year deal, the Dodgers signed the All-Star JD Martinez to just $10 million on a 1-year deal. They essentially replaced Cody Bellinger's $17.5 million salary with 33-year-old Jason Hayward. Hayward's current .811 OPS would be his highest in a full season since 2012, to go along with his trademark Gold Glove caliber defense in center and right field. And the real kicker, the Cubs are on the hook for most of Hayward's contract, while the Dodgers are only paying him the minimum salary. Instead of giving Trey Turner a ridiculous $300 million extension, the Dodgers traded prospect Jacob Amaya to the Miami Marlins for former Dodger Miguel Rojas. Rojas was originally slated to serve as a backup to one-stop prospect Gavin Lux. Unfortunately, Lux tore his ACL in spring training and is presumably lost for 2023. While Rojas has not produced much with the bat, his tremendous glove has been just as advertised. Rojas also brings intangibles within the clubhouse that are hard to quantify but certainly have value. Shelby Miller signed for only $1.5 million and pitched to a 2.40 ERA out of the pen before going down with a neck injury. Lastly, the Dodgers added to their outfield depth by signing David Peralta to a 1-year, $6.5 million deal. Peralta has been a steady platoon with Chris Taylor and rookie Johnny DeLuca. He is also one of the best teammates you'll ever find, always at the top step of the dugout, waiting to congratulate his fellow Dodgers. Now, it wasn't an entirely spotless offseason. After all, the Dodgers did sign Noah Syndergaard. Instead of getting the Thor that once threw 100 miles per hour, well, they got the Avengers Endgame Thor.
I'd give my hypothetical firstborn to be the old me again.
But as terrible as Syndergaard has been...
Oh, goodness! That ball had a family!
He's signed for just 2023. Unlike some other teams, the Dodgers aren't hamstrung by the Syndergaard contract. They can simply let him go at season's end, if not before, without affecting their long-term payroll. Because contrary to popular belief, the Dodgers under Andrew Friedman don't usually throw all their money at free agents, and rarely for more than a couple of seasons. But when the Dodgers do spend big, they usually know what they're doing. Notably, Freddie Freeman, still a top 5 hitter in baseball, and shortstop Mookie Betts, who occasionally moonlights as the best defensive right fielder in the game, while also hitting home runs at an Ohtani-esque pace in 2023. Sure, some of the Dodgers fan base may cry about not spending a shit ton of money on a shiny new free agent every single year. But those are the casuals. We don't listen to those. What about scouting and development? Well, the Dodgers do plenty of that as well. They have one of the most underrated players in the game, catcher Will Smith, who finally became an all-star after hitting 44% above the league average with an .889 OPS. James Outman got off to a scorching start in 2023. He's since come down to earth, but he's still hitting right around league average, while providing elite speed and strong defense in center field. In the infield, the Dodgers gave a bit of a runway to Miguel Vargas. Vargas moved over from third to second base because the Dodgers believed in his athleticism. Now, it hasn't really worked out with the glove or with the bat, and Vargas was optioned to AAA during the All-Star break. But Miggy does have really strong plate discipline and is still only 23 years old, so you figure he'll be back in no time. The Dodgers also gave a bit of playing time to another bat-first prospect, Michael Busch. Busch didn't produce much either, but he only got into 15 games. He's another young player that should be back before we know it. During the offseason, the Dodgers admitted there would be some volatility, with giving a lot of rookies a lot of playing time all at once. Some would perform, some wouldn't. Well, don't tell that to Bobby Miller, the fire-breathing rookie who throws 100 miles per hour with elite secondary pitches. Miller simply became the third Dodger ever to allow less than 2 runs total in his first 4 starts combined, dominating teams such as the Braves and Yankees. And Emmett Sheehan? Well, he simply threw 6 no-hit innings against the rival Giants and pitched 6 innings of 2-run ball against the beloved Houston Astros. Miller, Sheehan, and Gavin Stone were all forced into the rotation much earlier than anticipated because of all the Dodgers' pitching injuries. LA has literally had an entire starting rotation on the IL for most of the season. Therefore, it's not surprising that their pitching has been bad, like historically bad. And yet, the Dodgers rotation was kept afloat in the first half by the rookies and, of course, the legendary Clayton Kershaw. There are no words to properly describe the greatness of Clayton Kershaw and what he has meant to the Dodgers here in 2023 in year 16 at age 35. Kershaw simply leads the Dodgers in innings pitched by far, while leading the entire league in ERA. In other words, he's just doing Clayton Kershaw things. Now, Kershaw has since gone on the IL and is expected back in August, but he basically traded spots in the IL with Julio Urias. Urias has not performed up to his standards, to say the least. But I mean, his stuff is still there, and his strikeout to walk ratios are actually better than last season, when he had a league-leading 2.16 ERA. He's basically been the victim of poor pitch sequencing and an inflated home run rate. But I sincerely believe his stint on the IL served as sort of a mental reset, or as Julio called it, a vacation. I fully expect Julio to be Julio in the second half, and I'll even go as far as to say he'll look like a Cy Young contender once again. The Dodgers aren't a perfect team. For one, their infield defense has lagged, statistically 3rd worst in baseball, and that infield defense is a huge problem when you have a pitch-to-contact pitching staff. In a year where the rules have changed and balls in play have found more holes, the Dodgers have simply stopped striking out hitters. I mean, when Clayton Kershaw has the best swing and miss stuff of your entire staff, and by a wide margin, that's not necessarily the makings of a dominant rotation. And their bullpen has been one of the worst in the majors, at one point only slightly better than the Oakland A's. However, due to injuries, the Dodgers starters have pitched the 6th fewest innings in all of baseball. This has a domino effect of overworking the bullpen, which overexposes their ineffectiveness. I do believe their bullpen will improve, especially as their starters get healthier, and the Dodgers add some arms at the trading deadline to take the load off some of their current relievers. One pitcher who can really help the bullpen is already on their staff, Michael Grove. Grove doesn't pitch deep into games, but his stuff definitely plays up in short bursts. I am confident he can help the Dodgers either as a multi-inning reliever or even as a high-leverage option alongside stud Evan Phillips. And speaking of not seriously paying attention to the new rules, the Dodgers have given up the most stolen bases in the majors. Now, this isn't entirely on their catchers, because most of their pitchers take a long time to get the ball to the plate. But it's one of those small things that could definitely hurt them in the postseason. And one lesser issue is the amount of playing time given to veterans such as Hayward and Peralta. Don't get me wrong, they've been great, especially relative to what they're getting paid. But the Dodgers didn't really sign them with the intention of them being full-time players. In addition to an upgrade at third base, the Dodgers should probably look for an everyday outfielder, so they can use some of these seasoned vets in a big spot off the bench come October. The good news, at least for LA, the Dodgers still possess a consensus top 3 farm system. Despite all their success over the last decade, the Dodgers still have a surplus of prospect capital to pull off any trade their hearts desire. In summary, despite all the players the Dodgers lost during the winter, all the impact injuries this season, their pitching struggles, and playing in a very competitive division, sans the Colorado Rockies, the Dodgers still sit atop the NL West coming out of the All-Star break because of their depth, player development, both in the minors and at the big league level, and because this organization just knows how to win. And the San Diego Padres? Well, at least they can keep getting nominated for Sports Team of the Year. Andrew Friedman is building a long-term juggernaut without sacrificing the present. This was written way back in December of 2015, and these words still ring very true 8 years later. It's what keeps the Dodgers in contention year after year, and gives them a fighting chance in a small sample high-variance tournament known as October Baseball. You can't go all in every season. It decimates your farm system, your payroll flexibility, and it shortens your window of contention. Andrew Friedman understands this perfectly, so in some years, like in 2023, he pulls back the throttle. And guess what? The Dodgers are once again one of baseball's elite. And you know what would be kind of funny? If somehow in a rebuild year, the Dodgers do end up raising that piece of metal in late October. Similar to another winning organization that the so-called experts counted out at the beginning of the season.
Well, to me, I've picked San Diego. They're actually my World Series pick.
This should be San Diego's year.
I don't have them making the playoffs this year, the Dodgers.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't love their
You
lineup.
say outrageous. Is this just an outrageous Steve thing?
No, everybody says, well, they're the Dodgers, they always make it. Well, tell me why.
We've been balancing being as good as we can be in the current year while being able to maintain it. And we've seen a lot of large revenue teams who've fallen off a cliff, had a really good run of success, fallen off a cliff. And from our standpoint, we're doing everything we can to put ourselves in World Series contention each and every year.